Okay guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to look at solving by factorization. Okay, so what this means is we are looking at solving quadratics by first factorizing them. Okay, now when we solve something, so if I asked you to solve, for example, 2x plus 4 equals 12, okay, you know that what we need to do is we need to solve. Solve means to find the value of the unknown. Okay, so solve, find the value of the unknown or variable. Okay, so if I asked you to solve 2x plus 4 equals 12, you know the first thing you would do is minus 4 on both sides. Okay, then we get 2x equals 8. We would then divide by 2, whoops, and then that gives us x is equal to 4. Now with a quadratic equation, it's not so simple. So if we had, for example, x squared, I'll stick to the easy one that we always use, x squared plus 10x plus 24 equals 0. Okay, then in this case we can't just divide by something or move something or do whatever to solve it. We need to firstly factorize. Okay, that's why we've been teaching you how to factorize. Okay, so if we have this, x squared plus 10x plus 24 equals 0. All right, we know to factorize this, we should make a little table. We're going to do the shortcut method. Okay, there's no point in going the long way anymore. So a times c, and that's going to be what we have to times to give, and we have to add to give b. So a times c is, remember there's really a secret 1 here, so 1 times 24 is 24, and b is 10. Okay, now 24, things that multiply to give 24, we have 3 times 8, 2 times 12, 1 times 24, and 6 times 4. I'm not going to bother with negatives because you can see that your second term here is positive, therefore they must both be positive numbers. Okay, that's one of the tricks you'll start to build up. I'm not too worried about them at this point because I just want you to get used to factorizing. Okay, add them together. 3 plus 8 is 11. 2 plus 12 is 14, 1 plus 24 is 25, and 6 plus 4 is 10. So we know we're using this one. Okay, so we have x plus 6, x plus 4 is equal to 0. So we know that x plus 6 equals 0 or x plus 4 equals 0. Okay, one of those must be 0. Okay, that was that 0 property. If you have two things multiplying to give 0, then one of them must be 0. So either the first bracket is 0 or the second bracket is 0. So now we have x is equal to minus 6 or x is equal to minus 4. Okay, and we just got that by, obviously to get x by itself here you have to minus 6 from both sides, and here you have to minus 4 from both sides. Okay, so we've just solved a quadratic equation. Now, they're not always going to look like this one, okay? So there are a few different variations that you're going to see, all right? One of them will be the variation where there's only two terms, okay? So you might get x squared plus 3x. Well, let's make it minus. X squared minus 3x equals 0. Okay, so this is a different type of quadratic equation. However, it's still a quadratic equation. We still have x squared here. All right, but you can see we only have two terms. So this is with two terms. Okay, and both of those terms have an x in it. Now, when both of them have an x in it, we know that therefore we can take x as a factor. So our factor is x. X squared divided by x gives us x. And minus 3x divided by x gives us minus 3. Equals 0. This type of equation tricks people. They try and think too hard. They go, oh, okay, I've got to find two things that multiply to whatever. No, it's easy. You've only got two terms, so just look for that common factor. All right, it always throws people. They never know what to do here. The other thing they like to try and do is they'll go, well, x squared equals 3x, and then I can divide by x, and then I get, so if I divide by x, I'll get x equals 3. Okay, so this is what some people do. They go, oh, I'm going to divide by x, then I can cancel, and I get x equals 3. All right, this is not correct. Okay, don't do this, and I'll show you why. Because over here, sorry, I'm just going to pause, I need to sneeze. Okay, so over here, we know that we have a times b equals 0, where we have this is, we'll call this one b, okay, but our a here is actually just x. Okay, remember that's x times x minus 3. So what we actually have here is that x equals 0 or x minus 3 equals 0. So therefore, when we add 3 to both sides, and I don't expect you to write the step for this part because it's so easy, you don't need to write a step here, but you do, as in you don't need to write the red bit, okay? I do expect you to write out all the other steps, okay? So then we get x equals 3 or x equals 0. So you actually get 2 answers, and this method that someone would incorrectly use over here only gave us 1 answer. You lost the 0 answer, so please don't just move it to the other side and divide by x. Okay, I'm going to remove that because it's not okay. Okay, so this is with 2 terms. The other way you'll get 2 terms is you might get something like x squared minus 16 equals 0. Okay, x squared minus 16 equals 0. Now that should be maybe bringing back flashbacks to you here. Okay, you have x squared, so you have x squared here, minus something else. So you have x squared minus something. All right, and in that case what we have is a difference of 2 squares. We have x squared, x squared minus 4 squared equals 0. All right, what do we do with the difference of 2 squares? We can factorize it. So that can become, whoa, zoomed in a little bit, sorry. That can become, sorry, it's hard when you're left-handed because screens don't do what they're supposed to all the time. X plus 4, x minus 4 equals 0. All right, and then we can say, now we have a times b equals 0. So x plus 4 equals 0 or x minus 4 equals 0. X equals minus 4 or x equals 4. So this is what I expect to see you write. Okay, guys? All right, so this is with 2 terms. All right, the first example is with 3 terms, and that's basically what you're going to see. All right, that's it. You won't see much other than that. With your x squared minus 16, there is a second way that you can solve it. And we're going to do that just down here, just to make sure you guys can see it. So with x squared minus 16 equals 0, the other way that you can solve this one, normally we say you always have to make it equal to 0. Okay, but with this case, you actually don't, because what we can do is at the start, if you add 16 to both sides, what you get is x squared equals 16. And then you guys know that when you take the square root, so we can now take the square root to make x by itself. So you get x is equal to the square root of 16, or x is equal to the negative square root of 16. All right, which gives us x equals 4 or x equals minus 4. Okay. Now, what we haven't told you is what are we finding when we do this? What are we finding when we make it equal to 0? Okay, I'm going to just draw a quick sketch for you and show you. This is a parabola. Let's make its equation y equals x squared minus 2x plus 8. Okay, so x squared minus 2x plus 8. All right. Now, oh, sorry, we'll make it minus 8, sorry. If it's plus, it's not going to work. All right, so if we make this equation equal to 0, what are we making 0 here? So if we make it x squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 0, what have we made 0? Well, that's y. We have made y equal to 0. Okay, so we've replaced y with a 0. Now, if we make y 0, Where is y 0 on our graph? Okay, think about it. Y is 0 all the way along this line here. This is where y equals 0. Okay, so if we look at where this function is equal to 0, what we are actually finding are our x-intercepts. Okay, and you were doing this already with your straight lines. Okay, remember, to find the x-intercept of a straight line, we make y equal to 0. I know it's been a while. Okay, so when you do this, when you solve these quadratic equations, when we make it equal to 0 and then we solve it, what we're actually doing is finding the x-intercepts. Okay, so let's quickly just look at this one. So if we solve this, we make our little table. They have to times to give a times c, sorry. And they have to add to give b. So times to give minus 8, add to give minus 2. Now, because b is negative, we know one's got to be, because c is negative, so minus 8 is negative, we know that one of them must be positive and one of them must be negative. Okay, so our two numbers, to multiply, one must be positive, one negative. So for 8, we either have 1 minus 1 times 8, 8 times minus 1, minus 8 times 1. Okay, we have minus 4 times 2, or minus 2 times 4. Okay, so minus 1 plus 8 is 7, minus 7, minus 4 plus 2 is minus 2 and 2. And we were looking for minus 2, so it's this one. So what we get here is x minus 4, x plus 2 equals 0. So we have x minus 4 equals 0, that's our first bracket, or x plus 2 equals 0. Okay, and this gives us x equals 4, or x equals minus 2. So what that means is this x-intercept over here on the left is actually minus 2, 0. That is our x-intercept. This x-intercept on the right is going to be 4, 0. Okay, because that's what we have just found here. Okay, so when you solve these, you actually find your intercepts. Okay, and this is something you're going to need big time next year, so it's good to really get some practice in with that one. So that would be question 51 and 52. Okay, so those are really important to put some time into because you want to make sure that you really get how to do this. All right, we'll do some more with it next week or later this week. Okay.